this one. Screw these Dejas. I want to see some TFT.
I just want to see people be put into an uncomfortable position. You know, I want to see it get real scrappy. I want to see. PockyGom is also interesting because it's a situation where if you do hit Deja early, a lot of people can build a lot of gold, which leads to some pretty crazy endgame boards, and that would be really exciting to see. So I'll definitely keep track on the Mirage bug here. If you get something like Duelist, again, you get something like Spell Sword, you get something like Dawnbringers, you could be expecting half this lobby to go for towards that Deja route again.
Well, we're going to find out Mirage here very shortly and see if that's going to be the case. We've had a lot of nice keen taking place as we see that it's Warlords that kicks off. So this does, I think, limit the Deja aspect by quite a bit because one of the biggest peaks you're going to have is when you find the Deja early or just when you find Mirage early in general. But I really like seeing this mean keen come up because it's been a lot of nice keen giving off some like, oh, here's what you do in this situation, some little tiny advice parables. And the discomfort, the gladiators in our arena, that's what I want to see.
I'm happy to be nice to the viewers. I'm happy to teach you guys and help you guys out. But for the players in the lobby today, I'm happy to roast them if the situation comes up. This is a lot of pressure's on. It's very easy to make mistakes. I would know. I've been in a spot where I made massive mistakes in the final game of the day, and it's always easier to kind of criticize other people. It'll make me feel better about myself if I watch other people mess up as well. You know.
Chakki having a pair of timers here. The Guardian and the Bruiser aspect has Sunfire Cape readily available. It feels like there's a lot of stuff here adding up for Chakki to have a pretty decent start. Another chain as well. I know that Chakki really enjoys the chains because Jade is definitely a big aspect that he likes to go after. Well, a lot of this is just knowing because I talked to Chakki a lot about strategy in this game.
This is a great start for Chakki. These are 3 great augments. You would be happy with any of these at this point in the game. He's got the Sunfire. He's got Tom Kench too, as you pointed out. This is... if you're looking for something that needs to just go, okay, I'm looking for a 4th, I'm looking for a 3rd, this is a great spot to be.
Yeah, Chakki, again, sitting at 21 points here in 7th. Tied for, or it says 6th place up there, 25 points, excuse me. My point total is incorrect here. I lied.
Well, I would expect to see him sell and get the Senna in, get the Jinx in, and just have some backline damage here.
Level, Bruiser, and then Cannoneer and Cannoneer.
And I would expect to see Sunfire on Kench, drop the armor on the Skarner probably, just to spread the augments around. And the reason he's doing this is just because he's looking at his spot and he's like, okay, I got a lot of defensive items, which means I'm going to be lacking in damage. And so that's why he leaned towards the Cybernetic here, which gives a bit of extra AD to his front line, which will just increase the damage that little bit.
Tom Kench already punched pretty hard here.
Darth Nub getting
spooky.
The Jade Crest is, I think that's one of my favorite augments right now. Certainly a spot he'd be very happy with. It's already slammed as you see the Edge of Night. Clearly a Shioyu route. He'll be looking to kind of snowball up there. And also having the early Aatrox there will be helpful.
Oh. Whoa. Whoa.
So, I mean, at that point, I think you're playing Heimer, you're playing Lulu, and you start stacking. You got the Sunfire. I mean, it's a decent amount of damage with the Namzi coming in behind it, and you got Shimmer Scale here on PockyGom. Here is somebody who needs a strong finish to be able to climb to the top here, and he's able to start with Shimmer Scale. Unfortunately, it is Moggle's Mail, which I think is one of the less desirable options at the beginning because it caps how much gold you're able to make. One of the strengths of an early Shimmer Scale is a lot of the items let you snowball the gold. However, Moggle's Mail is only going to give you 2 gold a turn, and that's only if everything, that's even if it procs. So you got to watch for that to stack up to 40.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is like the unit that does it very often.
Aatrox is quite good, yeah, but he's not even going to be able to get a 40 here. Moggle's Mail, I think, is quite rough, but he's still able to push levels aggressively here. The board doesn't look bad.
I feel like the early Shimmer Scale is pretty decent just because of Aatrox being a pretty reasonable unit.
Aatrox is quite good, yes, and you're seeing it having quite a bit of success here. Ooh, it almost got another stab up. That would have definitely killed the set.
PockyGom here has definitely leaned a lot towards Shimmer Scale, and we have seen Pocky have some absolutely banger finishes when he's able to continue on the Shimmer Scale route. I feel like that he was the first player to truly show like one of the highest spikes of Shimmer Scale that you can have in Jade Cup, where he quickly got to the 9 Shimmer Scale spot and molded the lineup really well to manipulate it to have that Crown of Champions just be performing and just flaming everything on board. It was like I've tried it so many times, I've seen it happen so many times, but he felt like he just pieced it together so well.
If he's not going to sell that Aatrox, I'm surprised he didn't put the bow Aatrox in. I think that's a tiny mistake here. It's not obviously something that is a huge deal, but we'll see if it ends up making the difference. I think moving the Mogul's Mail over was correct, though, so this is a tough spot for Pocky. I think Pocky is sitting here. If he had drawn Draven's Axe, if he had drawn, I don't know, like getting Diamond Hands early, any of those things would have really contributed to a clear route to a top 4. With the Mogul's Mail, it's going to be a little bit scuffed. You're going to see it not proc once again.
Yeah, it's just the early game. Like, if it's not isolated, it's not getting procced. He's a 3-win streak, though.
You are definitely happy with a 3-win streak, but certainly not a ideal start in terms of, oh, this is going to be a clear path to first. Looking at the augments on the left there, we got strong augments coming out. Milk with 2 trues. Or true 2s. I always say it backwards.
It's kind of the same thing. Like, the 2 trues actually would technically be a stronger variant of it, I think.
You do. People know what I mean. Yeah, but a lot of strong augments coming out here. We got Rill, we got Gadget, we got, what is that? Better Together.
A lot of, it's very like stark differences in the augments, it feels like, too. It's like everyone feels like they have something that's really improving their board aspect right away.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of strong gold augments right now, so it gives a lot of options. So Milk looks like he was able to get Heimerdinger and Shen off of the True 2s, which is quite good units to be getting here. And so I would expect to see Milk lean towards the Siphon, but I'm also told that Milk is maybe not as comfortable on this patch, so I'll be curious if this is something that he's even practiced very much, or if it's been a little too much Deja.
Kind of looking at this, and there are definitely some different things that could happen here. I feel like that Milk is evaluating these spots constantly, and it's being like, do I need to do X, Y, or Z in like an immediate spot? It's like, should I be chasing this win streak? Is it possible to slam in an item to update these win streaks? I feel like every single time I watch Milk on a stream perspective, he's constantly talking through all the different options, and that's just the ones he's verbally putting out there, because I've seen him do some pretty wacky stuff in the middle of fights at times. Yeah,
Milk's a very intelligent player, one of the best on the North American server for sure, and he's another one of these guys that's right on the bubble. Does need quite a strong finish here, and had a strong start for it, but he runs into a brick wall with this Kurumx comp here. Just way too tanky early on with the Better Together, and you got Cavs, you got Guardians. It's just a little too much to cut through. That is not a bad unit to find early for Pocky here.
That is, I'm pretty sure that this is illegal.
So Pocky's sitting on an early Shimmer with an early Dragon. So the ideal spot here, if you are him, is you're hoping to get a Dragon augment. That would be awesome if you are Pocky. That would really help you get a couple different units in. That would create a clear win condition to be similar to the comp we saw Amd play earlier in the day, where he was able to hit quite a few dragons and really snowball it.
Oh my gosh, how do you beat this early?
Well,
the back line lined up for the Kayn here as well. I think just piercing through that little bit of extra damage.
Sometimes the answer is you just don't beat something.
Oh, jeez.
Milk's board is quite strong, too. He's able to do a bit of damage here, but it's looking like it still might be a 4-unit loss, which is brutal, considering how close a few of those units are to dying. But taking a 4-unit loss, Milk at least will streak a 2-loss into neutral, so it's not one of those win-loss situations. You see Soju, unfortunately, down there at 58. He is somebody that is likely on the outside looking in, depending on how things shake up.
Yeah, Soju absolutely has to have, I think, a first-place finish to justify a
even have a shot. Yes, even have a shot.
I'm sorry, day 3, excuse me. So this is very much like the Soju angle here. It's like focus purely on economy, get the biggest spike possible, and snowball it to a first-place finish. For Soju here, if this is not a first place, it is effectively, literally an 8th afterwards, even if it was a second-place finish.
Yeah, but he's sitting on combat training, and he's leaning towards Varus here. Like I said, he's going to need a really good augment on 3-2 to be able to justify a first place here. We did see Varus take first earlier, but it's going to be a lot of people playing for strong boards here. I'm curious to see if this is going to be enough. Combat training is not a bad augment for Varus, but I do wonder if it's enough.
I'm kind of curious myself, because I've been thinking about that a lot. I do feel like it depends on how early you find the Varus and how strong getting that spike.
Basically, he needs to roll in 2-star Varus, 2-star Alawi on this next turn. He needs to have a good augment, and then he needs to start winning. He needs to win out the rest of the stage so that Varus can start building stacks. He needs to win most of stage 4. And if he's able to do that, then yeah, there is a world in which he's going to be able to win. But if you start seeing him lose, like even one fight here, one fight there, that breaks up the streak, and he's already at 58. That's going to drop him down to 50. He's going to drop down to 40, and he's in a spot at that point where he'd be donkey rolling at 6, donkey rolling at 7, and it's not great. So a lot's going to ride on what this next augment is for Soju. His game's basically coming down to the level and the quality of the augment that's about to be presented to him.
I love what's at stake, but goodness. I'm glad it's at least a situation where it's literally a first or eighth kind of scenario. Darth Nub with the Jade, meanwhile. I feel like the golden Jade heart is so powerful because it allows you to actually aggressively go to 7 and have that major Jade spike take place.
Yeah, you also see him with perfect items already. Like usually the last item is going to be the Giant Slayer, depending on the lobby. You see a lot of Siphons, you see a lot of other people playing Dragons. Giant Slayer is the best in slot 3rd item. If you're seeing a bit more front-to-back fights, then you might be leaning towards something like the Titans instead. So it just kind of varies depending on the lobby. And so, but he's got the 3rd sword already. And Soju is Tiny Titans is not the augment you need here. If you're playing Varus, I think you need triple augments that are going to be strong. Unfortunately, he's staying on just combat training, which I don't believe will be enough for the Varus here.
How does this need to get pieced out now as well?
He's got 6 Astrals in, which will up his econ. It's pretty greedy, but with Tiny Titans, he's able to perhaps greed a bit more. He might be thinking the lose streak to 7 and send it then.
Yeah, this is definitely very possible. I mean, you are going to need to roll some of this frontline aspect as well. Like, the extra health total you get in this spot, it buys you just those couple of extra rounds to really get something rolling here. Like, you found a Varus. How greedy can you get to amplify the ability to, again, kind of have that giant spike take place and put together a win streak for the rest of the game?
Yeah, it's... But I don't know. I think no matter what happens at this point, the augments just aren't going to be good enough. You're not going to get double trouble at this point on the last roll. Maybe a Triforce could come in. Maybe Press the Attack could come in. But even at that point, it's probably going to be a little bit too little too late. You're going to see Soju bleed out for the rest of the stage and basically nullify the Tiny Titans that he just got. I would not be surprised to see him sub 40 health going into Wolves. And then you're sub 40 and you're rolling for a Varus comp, which is certainly not an ideal spot to be in.
I definitely think that what you just described is the most likely, but what option does he have?
Yeah, I mean, I think the options he has is to...
First or bust.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it's 4th or bust at this point, but...
Oh, jeez. Definitely is feeling a little bit brutal. Darth Nub taking the featherweights here on this silver augment. This looks more like it's dedicated to the tempo aspect.
Certainly a tempo aspect.
These items are certainly Shioyu on the Aatrox.
It's Shioyu 100% from this spot. But if you look at his board, he's sitting on 5 units that are 1 or 2 star, or 1 or 2 cost, and a couple of them are 2-starred already. So those 3 2-star, those 3 2-cost 2 stars. God, that is such a. So I confuse that all the time. And you see Milk. Instant pivot. Milk had a great start for Siphon and sees 1 Deja and says, "I'm out of here." But
how does he do it?
Hey, if you hit the Deja early in Warlord, then it's a great play. And he's got a Nico's help already too, so it's not a bad spot for Milk. You'll see him go 7 and roll for another Deja. And he's holding the rod there. With Warlords, you're definitely looking, because it's Warlords, you're going to have a little bit extra health, you're going to have a little bit of extra time, which means you do want the Archangel so that you can ramp up that AP to really get good ults off when he sweeps on, especially the second cast. That needs to be a wipe.
The augments again across, and I saw the Siphon on Soju's board there, and I'm still having that shred of hope. You know, I'm always cheering for like the player who has to have the miracle take place in order for it to happen. And right now, I'm gonna put it out there just from my perspective. I feel like Milk is kind of like the antagonist in this situation. Like, you already hit the Deja on the Warlord aspect, and you have the champion duplicator on the bench. Like, this is the 3-5 spot where if he hits this, it's bad news for the rest of the lobby.
He should go up to 7, and you see him roll down to about 10 gold here. He's really hoping for 1 more Deja. If he's able to hit the Deja, the rest of the lobby should just ping it, and somebody can get very upset here. But there's also a situation in which Milk just gets stuck here for a little bit. Finding the Nunu is going to be nice here. An early Shyvana, but I don't see him pivoting to Shyvana from this spot. I would be surprised if Milk felt comfortable doing that. He's been playing Deja all day. He has Deja already. It's certainly stronger right now, but I would be I just don't think he's comfortable making that play. He certainly has the items to do it. If you are sitting on Titans, you're sitting on Archangels. Switching over to Shyvana is a strong option. But Milk, of course, just sticking with comfort, which is what I was talking about ahead of the game, is people are going to lean towards what they are familiar with. And sometimes that's better, to be honest. Like, if you don't know how to play something or you're not comfortable playing something, there's no reason to force it.
There's a reason you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's winning your games. I'm not comfortable with stuff because it's losing my games.
Yeah, you see Soju actually seem to have rolled a little bit there to try and stabilize. He's going to be at 42. Like I said, he's going to be sub 40 going into Wolves, which is tough.
Pocky is cranking right now as well. The Whisper Heart with the Shiver scale.
Not bad. Not bad.
Still at 100.
Got the early siphon.
And again, how aggressively does Milk really hunt this down? Is it more rolling right now? Indeed it is.
I think, yeah, because he really wants this win streak here to be able to go into the next... Go into Wolves. He can get the 2 win streak. And like I said, he's at this point, he's just one Deja away from being able to Nico it. And then he's stable.
Got a 4 Mirage with the big Cavalier and the...
Yeah, as long as he's able to stay at 10. This is one of these things, no matter how desperate you are, you pretty much should never roll beyond 10. As soon as you roll past 10 and you're going down to 0 every turn, your game is extremely scuffed at that point. Very, very bad to be that way. Rolling down to 10 still gives you some options. Building up to 10 always takes a couple turns.
PockyGom here under a bit of pressure. This Deja is picking up to a lot of damage.
Yeah,
Siphon looks like it's going to close it out, but this is still pretty close.
Depends on where this bite goes, and it does not bite. And so Deja should be able to wrap this up here. Yep.
Snap on the win streak.
That's pretty big. Milk's able to snap PockyGom's streak, and he's also able to build up a 2 streak for himself going into neutrals. Yeah, you see Soju taking another loss. That's not a bad loss, though. At this point, you do want to be losing. You might as well keep the loss streak. And Soju is basically going to send it here. He needs to hit Varus 3, he needs to hit Alawi 3, and then he needs to pray for a really powerful augment as the last option.
Kurumx sitting just chilling at 750 gold for win streak. Pretty strong backline. Kurumx doesn't really have, I'd say, like a defined direction right now. It just feels like a lot of generically good stuff at the moment.
This feels like a Deja angle to me as well. Yeah,
it's open, though, is the thing. Like, Deja's kind of like the default, I feel like.
Yeah, he's also somebody that has leaned towards Deja quite a bit. Getting another sword here is a little awkward. You could definitely play like a Siphon from this spot. Well, he doesn't have anything to support the Siphon. I would be surprised if it's anything but Deja. I don't really see anybody pivoting to Xayah on game 6 in a do-or-die situation. Yeah, he just rolls past the Xayah. I'm expecting that he's rolling for 1 Deja here. But this board's strong enough where you can probably sit.
Kurumx definitely is a bit more aggressive than usual.
This is, I think at this point, this feels like a bit of a tilt roll where you are like, oh, I just need 1 Deja and I can move on with life. But it's also fair where he might need the Deja. Because it is Warlord, you do want to be building those stacks up early. You see Milk there does manage to hit Deja 2 and start stacking the Warlord stacks.
It's largely the champion duplicator in that aspect as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's already at 3 Deja stacks, and he's likely to farm a 4th here. And at this point, just one more fight, it'll be full stacks on the Deja, which is exactly where you want it to be. Milk's in a great position. Unfortunately, his items are a little scuffed at the moment.
It also just launched a beam into a dead corner.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Does this thing actually beat? No.
Oh my goodness.
That was much closer. Yeah, I do think that Kurumx overrolled. I don't think he needed to roll as much. He 2-starred most of his board already. Rolling for a single Deja feels really bad. At that point, you might need to start thinking about what other options are available. This is a pretty low roll lobby in terms of augment. It's double silvers. Silver on the 3rd option. The boards just aren't going to be as capped as they could be. But these are all strong options for silvers. Weak spot, meditation, not bad. Little hunt 1, not bad.
I still feel like I disagree with the weak spot when you have a Sunfire.
I think the Sunfire only applies to a couple of units, and so, especially towards the end of the fight, a lot of times your Sunfire unit is dead, and you're stuck in like a 1v1 situation with Dragon versus Dragon, and I think in that situation, the weak spot feels particularly good.
It just feels wrong. I don't think it is, it just feels like it is. It's hard for me to break that chain from my head. PockyGom here, though, on 8, Shimmer Scale plus Whisper, and it feels like it's going to be a pretty heavy lean towards the Whisper aspect on this one.
Yeah, this is, I'm surprised to see him even holding the Itis. So I guess there's a world in which you get Itis and maybe play around Pike and just play a couple Whispers. But with those items, I feel like you're probably committed.
Chakki here, still with the double Cybernetic and Thrill. My goodness, Chakki's board's pretty lit right now.
Yeah, Chakki got some really nice augments, and you'll see him stabilize. Unfortunately, Chakki's HP is in a bit of a rough situation. He doesn't have a clear endgame carry yet, so we'll see what happens as we approach stage 5 for Chakki. He's not going to have very much gold, and he'll be needing to roll for a Corki, for a Siphon 2, and he's got none of those yet. And you might see a full pivot here. Yep.
Oh, boy.
So at this point, that is
Yeah,
out.
this is always going to change that.
And we'll see what dragons he's able to hit, or what shimmer he's able to hit here. Okay, some pretty good items, honestly. Here's some backline. Moggle's Mail is going to be good. Moggle Mail is good at this point in the game because it's very tanky. Finding the Corki is going to be pretty big. It's a little late to get the Draven's Axe, unfortunately, but...
I just love seeing Corgi basically equipped with Shimmer Scale.
Yeah, that Corki is unfortunately going to die to a lot of things randomly, though, so... We'll see as other boards come up online, but it's a very fragile Corki.
It does feel pretty well surrounded, though. Goodness, this Idis, it feels invincible at the moment.
Yeah, especially against Darth Nub's Bard. I expect that he's going fast 8. I would not be surprised if he's sitting on close to level 50 already. He'll be able to roll it down at level 8, 50, and look for that Shioyu and pivot off of Featherweight's Augment, which seems to have saved him a good amount of health, but at this point he does need to move those items over to a Shioyu. And it does seem like, at the very least, I don't remember anybody else playing Jade in this lobby, so maybe an uncontested Shioyu for him, and hopefully he's able to hit it to stabilize.
Okay, so PockyGom is sitting on 7 Shimmer Scale with an 8th Shimmer Scale in. Okay, I was about to mention this this spatula here. If Pocky can get a hold of that, 9 Shimmer Scale is on the menu.
Yeah,
very heavily peeled away at this point. But basically, when you're looking at this bottom 4 right now, Robin is sitting in a strong spot right now at 28 points. Casper is sitting in a must-win situation at 19 points. Milk is sitting in a need-to-finish strong situation at 23 in 10th place on Milk Guy's side, and Soju absolutely has to have a win at 18 points. So the bottom 4 right now, the reason that they feel like they're sitting in these situations is largely because they're having to take big risks focused on their economy to have a giant inflection point.
Wow. So this might be... You can definitely just play Siphon with 3 Jade as pretty strong comp. You just play... Oh, there's the Shioyu. I'm curious to see if he... Yeah, this is an awkward situation where you don't have a 2-star on any of these dragons, but... he also doesn't have the board around to really push towards 9. Looks like he wasn't able to find a lot of those Jade units, but he is able to sneak in 9 with a bunch of 1-stars here. I'm curious to see if that's going to be enough. Yeah, you see Soju here does manage to hit the 3-star Varus, hits the 3-star Alawi, but he's finishing off the Varus with a QSS instead of a damage item. I think he's saying, okay, I have combat training, that should be enough AD. I think that's true if you're able to win streak early, but Soji was losing a lot of fights early. I don't think it'll be enough in the long haul here. He looks like he's able to beat this Shioyu 1 at least, but Soji's spot looks quite doomed, if I have to be honest.
Ooh.
You see Milk actually take a loss down there despite having Deja too.
Wow. Chakki on a win streak here as well. This is 9 Jade that we just saw on and then Milk's board looks pretty strong. What's going on here?
Oh, nice. It's a little form of Cav spat. So, I mean, it's just an item gap. He doesn't have any items on... Well, when I say any, he only has 1 full item on Deja. And if this is a situation where you'd almost rather have Deja 1 with 3 items than having Deja 2 with just 1 item, it's just unfortunate he wasn't able to cobble together anything to slam on that Deja. And so he's going to need quite a bit of luck on the Treasure Dragon here to be able to finish off some items for this Deja.
I mean, he's like out of gold for the Treasure Dragon as well.
Yeah, so it's that's why it's going to be quite a bit of luck is going to come into play here. But fortunately, he does draw the Shioyu and it's still 1 star, so perhaps still able to take this fight. But the Sunfire is okay. The Sunfire is coming back. You do need Sunfire against 9 Jade. If you don't have Sunfire against 9 Jade, it is a BG.
Does have a weak spot.
Oh, he does have weak spots. That does help. Weak spot, Deja. Oh.
Uh-oh.
There's...
That's what I meant. By was the giant sweep that's taking place on Deja's side.
Yeah,
that's a hit.
Yeah, that's gonna be an overtime gap. This is probably not, because it'd be a Hodge Gunblade. Probably not good enough. You need at least 1 more true damage item.
I mean, you have 8 gold to work with here.
I think he could get better. He just takes it.
I'm kind of interested in this one. I mean, this is giving you an option for Thieves' Gloves, plus something. It's giving you option for the frozen art idea. It's giving you option for QSS. Like,
yeah, I don't know. In this spot, he has an extra glove as well. You just pop it off, and I think at this point you just slam Hodge, and if you can get a good item off the carousel, you can just pop it off, one of the healing items. But
like Thieves' Gloves Chalice option here, like.
Oh, I didn't realize he had Pandora's. I am trolling.
Oh my gosh.
I am trolling. Yeah, so that was a great take then. My brain is not functioning properly, and now he's got Zeke's Herald as well. This is fantastic for Milk.
Okay, I wasn't seeing that either. That is like just totally a big miss. This is like the very end of day 2 of a giant tournament vibe from the caster perspective here.
I am glad that he knows what augments he has, because we were not looking at that.
That is my bad. And this is like a pretty big gap from first place on the way down. But as soon as you get to the Chakki Kurum aspect, it's a pretty reasonable cascade to the bottom right now. Everyone's board's feeling like they're starting to get packed out here, and it feels like a lot of this is going to be matchups and positions that are taking the precedent here.
I will just say the only issue with Milk's board now is there's no real way to get stronger outside of finding Yasuo's, and even if you find the Yasuo's, you don't really have items for them. I guess you could pop that Cav Spat off of the Ornn. So it is a strong board, but he is starting to get capped here, and I'll be curious to see what happens when he does run into boards that are stronger than him, because Milk has about 2 lives left. 3 lives.
Gets the win streak snapped.
Yeah, Soju was always going to start losing on this stage. As I said earlier, his augments aren't good. His items aren't particularly great. It's a tough spot to be in. Chakki's riding his augments still sitting on the Corki 1. And I am, at this point, I have to look at this board and be like, where is the damage coming from? I don't know if those augments are enough. He doesn't have much damage. His front line is the Tom Kench too at this point. It's just not.
I mean, the damage is all cyber, right?
It's all in the cyber value, but I don't know if it's enough.
Trying to figure out what else could it be. Like, it feels like, cutting. As much as I'd hate to say this, I feel like cutting the Jinx for like a Zoe is actually like a negative aspect at this point. It feels like the Revel and the cyber is like that's your entire team right now.
You see this damage is just not quite there. Took way too long.
Out in 8th, but again, if it wasn't first, it was effectively in 8th from that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, he had to play for first, and then I don't know. Like I said, Soju's spot was pretty bad, just basically from the get-go.
For Chakki here, this is feeling like it's a playing to not lose kind of aspect, where if he can manage a slow bleed out here, it feels like that players are going to be taking big hits in the matchups that they're facing. So maybe it's strong enough to get something done, but Chakki's spot did not look very good.
I don't like Chakki's spot either. I will also say that Darth Nub, however, I love his spot. This is a 9 Jade spot with perfect items in the Xiaoyu. You've got Morello on the Nico, which is something I see people shy away for some reason. Like, they'll put it on the Nivea. I think it's much better on the Nico if you're able to 2-star it early, especially with these items. You got a Shroud here that hits this Aoshin. This should be a pretty simple win against the Ghost. But we've seen the Ghost boards do a lot of damage today.
Yeah, Game 5, the Ghosts were just popping in that one. Though there were some pretty powerful teams in that aspect as well. But yeah, this is like a pretty wonderful matchup for Darth Nub to see, I think, in this spot. And I'm keeping a look at this sidebar right now to see what's happening with these L totals. Kurumx picking up a loss to 15.
Yeah, Kurum's taking a loss. Milk's the one to really watch for. I think he was in a precarious situation. You see him does chain the win streak together, though. And so it's Casper, it's Chakki, and it's Casper. Those guys sitting literally neck and neck on points, neck and neck in health in this game. It is really going to come down to the wire. PockyGom sitting comfortable first, also needing to finish strong, but I think a lot of times that shimmer angle can be very difficult to close out on.
Chakki gets the Bard with the Shiv. Felt like a close one. Everyone here just feels like they're jumping back to their board and assessing this about as closely as possible. No one has like beeline for a single item yet. Everyone's like kind of taking a moment and looked back at their board.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of boards have probably really come close to finishing what other items they need. This board, yeah, you're gonna see him able to go 9 here at the very least.
Whew! That's a coast to 9 with 60 gold. Now, granted, gold a big aspect of the Shimmer scale team. It's like, gold is part of your damage here.
And you probably want Yasuo in at this point as your last item. I'm a little surprised. Okay, I guess he's just going to play whatever unit he hits first. I have found Xayah to be quite underwhelming as the carry in this comp, but it does have Rage Wing in, and it's got really strong items, so... And it's certainly at 2-star going to be quite good, but this is very bad positioning. This Shiryu is going to walk directly onto this back line. If it goes from here to Thresh, and then from Thresh to Zaya, then that is a wrap. But if he's fortunate, maybe it walks over to the Idas instead.
I mean, the Thresh is in the way here. That's still the Guardian aspect that you're getting from that. This Zaya has had plenty of time.
Wow, I did not expect that the Aatrox would not die to a Shiryu. That is very surprising to watch. I mean, but I guess that's Soraka 2. That's Soraka 2. That is Zoe 2. Zoe, in my opinion, one of the best units to ever be in any set of TFT. This Zoe unit is very good.
Chakki taking a big hit down in 7th place at the moment. Chakki needs to have a reasonable finish here in order to find themselves in the top 8 for tomorrow. Casper at 12, Darth Nub at 13, Kurum at 15. Kurum's board's strong, but they're just completely out of gold to upgrade this, and it feels like the upgrades are getting desperate from Kurum's side. The Pike 2 is the centerpiece.
Yeah, Kurum has basically his front line looking quite troubling here, and he's about to face this board.
I think this is the toughest matchup right now. Like, Pocky did, I think, a great job at solidifying what this 7 Shimmer scale was looking like.
Yeah, it was really really well played by Pocky. I think it's a very difficult spot to navigate, and he's been navigating it quite well. We do see the rain come down. I don't think it's enough, though. Oh, it does get the Zaya on that, but we do see this God Aatrox still alive. Xiaoyu couldn't kill it. This might be enough, though. Yeah, I don't know if there's any damage left. Yep. No damage left. So Kurum's board is kind of quite good into this. This is one of the things when you see an Idas board, the Aoshin can really circumvent that front line and get to the back line.
Darth Nub down to 2. Chakki gets a win. Casper gets a win. Kurum gets a win. None of the players in the bottom angle took a big hit in this spot. Darth Nub shifted down with them. A 3-item creep round at the end of stage 5. This game is going nuts.
It's 7 people alive going into this stage. This is one of these games where you are praying for the right matchup. You're praying to get the ghost here. It could really go any direction at this point.
7 players to stage 6? This is nuts.
Anybody's game. It's almost bad for Kurum because the rest of his units are so bad. You don't even want items on them. You just really want the extra gold so you can roll for that Aoshin, but unfortunately he does not get the gold. And we're taking a look at Chakki's situation here. Like I said, I was worried about how it would scale into the end game. There's no real damage. He's unable to hit the Corki too. That's pretty unfortunate for him. This is somebody that really needs a strong finish here, and to be stuck in a spot at the end of the day where you're unable to hit a Corki 2 in a lobby where I don't think anybody else is even playing Corki. It just feels very bad.
Where do you reforge this? Do you place this?
This is about as good as it's going to get, and he's got to pray for some good RNG in the matchup. He is at least on the correct side here with the Sonar, correct side for the Corki. Maybe get some nice Jinx ults onto this Shiryu.
Oh boy.
But so the damage isn't coming in.
Shiryu, the Gnar almost taking out the Corki at the bottom.
It's not enough damage.
Under focus.
Even with Corki 2, this could have been difficult for him, but with Corki 1, it is not even close. Chakki going down in 7th is not what he needed here. That is an unfortunate end for him in what was otherwise a really strong opening to this tournament. Casper also going down there is not going to be good enough.
Darth Nub just clinging on with 2 health. Casper in a 6th place spot here. That is pretty much going to sail them out of contention for day number 3. And Milk.
You also see Milk. The win streak got snapped. This is what I was worried about, was that he had no real way to get stronger. You do see him popping. Yeah, I think this is going to be a little bit stronger. But if he goes to the wrong person here, this could be it for Milk. And he does draw Robin, who is able to have a Yasuo. I think a lot of times Yasuo is the big difference. He also gets shrouded here. This is... Or Zephyr, sorry. This is a rough spot to be in. Great items on this Yasuo as well. And you might see Milk's set 7 run come to an end here. Yep. Yeah, and that's all it takes is 2 losses. Milk was unable to find a Yasuo, which was the one way his board was going to get stronger. And he's unfortunately going to take a 5th. There's Darth Nub only takes 10 on that loss. 5th, it's gonna be real close coming down to the wire here, Admirable.
This is getting ridiculously close. So for Milk here, the 5th place finish, I think might pull them out of range for the top 8 for tomorrow. Chakki here, the 7th place finish, likely pulling them out of top 8.
I'm not a math guy, but I do know 5th is not good in this spot.
No, it's not. Now for Darth Nub, on the other hand, Darth Nub came into this round at 27 points in 4th place. So a top 4 finish here, likely a fist pump.
Oh my! That is a Soraka 3. What?
Pocky hits a Soraka 3!
Hey, well, Pocky's sitting there is like, oh, I'm set. I'm going to the final lobby.
A blue buff, no less. It takes the world to stop this from casting and putting him at 100 HP.
Goodbye to the board. Holy smokes. He's at 100 health. Is that legal?
I just don't know how you defeat it at this point. You're going to win this game against the board, but that's because the heal wasn't exceeding
Kurum
that
actually
life total.
Kurum even hit the Yaoshin 2 here, but and he does win the fight, but Kurum was already in a spot where he was fine. I don't think he's going to be able to win this game. I can't believe Soraka 3 just lost, so Mardog might want to fix the game there. Soraka 3 should not be losing. Woo!
Well, it lost this round. It's not going to keep losing rounds.
You say that, but
No,
surely it wins out eventually, right?
Yes, the next round. I did a lot of research on this one after the Jade Cup thing because it was a very, very stark contrast on how the round ended. My understanding of it in talking with people about this is that if your life total exceeds 100 when you heal with when the Soraka 3 pops, that is when it starts spiking and really creating that damage. When you heal to 100 for some reason, it didn't have a trigger. I can't remember exactly what all the explanation was, but it was a very long, detailed thing where it was, long story short, if you're not getting knocked out the round you have Soraka 3 and Soraka 3 casts, you pretty much win the lobby at that point.
Oh, let's see what I mean, it definitely will cast here. He should be able to beat Robinsport. I don't expect 2 people to be able to beat Soraka 3. See it being frontlined here as well. The cast should go off. And there's the board.
Yeah. And that's the exceeding 100 HP at that point, and that's why it evaporates the board in that fashion. Wow. Just what an unbelievably strong unit. But how rare is it to find that? I don't even know anymore because this is 2 tournaments in a row now that we have seen the final game of a day be a Soraka 3.
Hey, well, Soraka 3, once it comes online, you're actually able to exceed the healing. That will be the gap. It's a great board from Kurum as well, but yeah, you're going to see Kurum's happy with his performance. He is able to ride a strong game into day 3 here, and PockyGom will be joining him on the heels of a great Shimmer Scale game. He was always going to have a strong finish, regardless of what happened.
Center frontline Soraka. He's like, no, just give me the mana right away. Let's get this over with.
If anybody's hungry for some bananas, here they come. Oh,
and there you go.
Well, that was
wow.
That was an ending to a fine second day of gameplay from all our competitors.
It is just